2, a 3, a 4.
We are Movie Menu Reviews. Light a match, ignite a podcast, and steal a whole lot of money for it. On today's menu, we'll be reviewing Captive State and Triple Frontier. Welcome, ladies and gents. I'm Dan the Man Muñoz, host of Movie Menu Reviews, your weekly movie news and reviews podcast.
Hey.
Live on Facebook.
Yeah.
Or if you're listening to us on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, or Google Play, or wherever you listen to podcasts, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'd like to welcome our special guest, C.E.O. of Hoobacanoes, Cory, Zerbe.
Hey, welcome.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you for being here. Of course, it's we're contractually obligated to go ahead and invite you every season. If we don't meet that contract, we don't want to know what happens.
Yeah,
I think Mike gets murdered.
probably.
No, because we wouldn't care if Mike got murdered. So we know it has to be something more serious than that.
Oh, okay.
So on that note, since Mike is still here,
Yes.
we have fulfilled our contract for this season, right?
Well, there we
That's
go.
right.
All right.
That's right.
Good. So Mike,
But we still might torture him anyway.
One more season for
I
you,
think
Mike.
I'll be okay with that.
Thank you.
So also here is my co-host Mike Stan.
Hey, Mike. How's it
I'm
going?
here.
Also here, and feel free to torture him as well, is our senior panelist and co-host Z.
Listen, I don't need Cory to torture me. That's what the movies are for.
Well, that's why we brought him on in this film. But we have some movie news to cover before we go into the movie reviews. And the first up is that the new Avengers Endgame official trailer was released this week.
Right.
So what did you guys think about the actual full-length trailer of it?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's a full-length trailer, except it's more of a clip show than anything else. Because it does do a lot of Phase 1 cutbacks. So I thought that was just interesting that it's like, yeah, it's a full trailer, but I mean, we all know what the story is going to be, but it definitely has a lot more of like the past movies. So I guess this is a trailer for people who have not seen the originals.
Yeah, that's.
Is that what you were thinking?
No,
It's a lot of black and white.
I think it's also for hardcore fans that are like, look at these are where these heroes came from, and look at where they are now.
But
and
hardcore fans wouldn't need that.
No, it's like a nostalgia, like
okay.
like a send off, and like a
Did you
beautiful
feel the
moment.
nostalgia, Dan?
I did. I thought it was beautiful to see where they came from, and after watching every single film, all the story arcs from where they started in the MCU to where it led them to Infinity War, and now into this new film, Endgame, is going to be pretty epic and tragic, and it's going to be hopefully satisfying.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I know that this is going to be at least the way that the Russos had postulated when they were doing Infinity War, that this is going to be the final arc for Captain America, or rather, not to say he's going to die, but it's saying that they're actually, because he didn't have an arc.
Well, I mean,
for him.
Chris Evans went on Twitter to go ahead and
He did.
and say goodbye to Captain America.
Yeah,
so.
but I feel like the part for me is like, this is a journey. This movie's going to be Infinity War was a journey for Thanos. This should be the completion of that journey for Captain America then. So I think you see a lot of that. You see a lot of his character, aging, although he's unable to age. But you definitely see a character's growth in that trailer. So I think that's really cool. You also get to see Iron Man back on Earth. So that's a spoiler there. He gets back on Earth.
But I mean, we knew that was going to happen.
We did. It wasn't much of a secret.
We also see Captain Marvel, who just had a new movie come out a couple weeks ago. So we
Right.
see her already with Thor.
Mm-hmm.
We see Thor back on Earth, and we see also Nebula and Rocket with War Machine.
Yeah.
We also see, interestingly enough, new hairdos for different characters.
Well, and I think what it really comes down to is, so if you watch Captain Marvel, the post-credit scene, I don't want to spoil it for you, but if you haven't seen it, what are you doing here? But in that post-credit scene where you see Captain Marvel on Earth, you see Natasha
Black Widow.
Romanoff, Black Widow. Thank you. You see her with the short blonde hair, and then you see this at the very end of this clip. You see her with the blonde hair as well. So I think that there is a time jump in between what happens at the end of Captain Marvel and where this trailer picks up, and then wherever this movie goes to, because you get to see Black Widow with
the red hair, long hair.
red blonde hair. Yeah,
red long hair.
Yeah. Yeah,
so it should be interesting. Also, Hawkeye or Ronin, I should say, has a new hairdo, and Captain America doesn't have a beard. So we know there's some time jumping going on, or not going to be straight from.
I'm just really excited to see all the rest of the hairdos.
I know. I'm just really excited. I hope they spend some time where they show them thinking about what they should do next with their hair.
I want to see who cuts their hair.
Stan Lee.
Would the film like that be?
It's Stan Lee.
A superhero barber?
No, it's Stan Lee. Stan Lee's the one who remembers
from Thor.
And Thor
Speaking
Ragnarok.
of which, can we also do a apology that we did not even talk about Stan Lee for our Captain Marvel review, which was a shame.
I'm sure Stan Lee appreciates it.
And the opening of Captain Marvel was such a beautiful opening with
It
Stan
was.
Lee's memorial for all his cameos for the Marvel Studio logo, and as well as Mallrats. And Kevin Smith was even touched for that cameo.
He did cry.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we all did. If we didn't on the outside, we sure did on the inside. So
It's funny because I was driving in the OC this weekend and I saw a street called Excelsior, and I just shouted Excelsior.
Yeah, my friend used to live on Excelsior.
Well, there you go.
Every time I would go visit her, I used to laugh inside. But switching gears, so did we all like this trailer?
Yeah, I think I want to see more. I feel like this trailer.
No. I don't want to see more until I actually see the film.
Okay. Well, that's fair. That's
and
fair
I think they did
for
a good
you.
job because we see Paul Rudd's character and he's unsure what's going on. He looks confused in the clips that they show him of, and I feel like though this is everyone's journey, we're also going to be Ant-Man is going to be a very important integral part of this film.
I feel like there are two different movies in this trailer.
I feel like three.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see how they put all these things together, because there is. I mean, if you watch the trailer, you'll see that there's like definitely one moment where they show a battle, and that battle seems to be taking place in the past. I'm not really sure. And then you see them kind of marching in their new uniforms.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
The new, the quantum suits,
the quantum realm. So
yeah.
So
yeah,
I feel like Cory and Mike are like
new outfits.
Yeah, new hairdo, new outfits. That should be the hashtag: new hairdo, new outfits.
Yeah.
We have a comment.
Go for it.
Christopher Anthony Velasco.
Oh,
hey, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
How you doing, Chris?
Says he doesn't know if he's emotionally ready for Endgame. You know what? Neither am I.
I mean, we were not ready for Infinity War, and they did it, and I think that's the important thing, because if you survived Infinity War, you can survive this.
And that's the one thing I like, that they have not shown anyone who's been snapped, right? They haven't shown flashbacks. They haven't shown anything that anyone who was snapped.
I like that phrase. You've been snapped.
You've been snapped. They've only shown the survivors and the remorse that they've had.
Yes.
So I really like that as well, that we don't know anything going in, and I'm happy for that.
I agree.
Speaking of Marvel and Disney,
Yes.
also this week which happened was they announced that James Gunn is rehired to direct Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
I think they did this intentionally. Yeah.
Suicide Squad 2. I
Oh,
feel like they were
yes.
jealous because they're like, nuh-uh, he's going to move on to DC. Nuh-uh, we're going to get him back to
I mean,
to
I
Marvel.
don't think that's the case, because they didn't put it contractually to him, tell him like, you're not allowed to do DC movies, because honestly nobody cares about that except for the fanboys. No, I think
No, after Joss Whedon did Justice League after doing Avengers, they're like, we're losing our Marvel people to DC.
Nobody cared. Nobody cared.
People care.
No, but what if you read the article on Deadline? It does state that they had several sit downs and talks about what they could do, and
Alan Horn also expressed his.
That's what I was going to say. Yes, that Alan Horn actually was very impressed with the fact that he came out and apologized ahead of time,
and how he handled himself afterwards.
Yeah,
like, he agreed with Disney, or he wasn't fighting Disney on it. Like, he respected Disney's decision, even though everyone else didn't. Everyone else didn't think that he should have been fired.
Well, when you say everyone else, you're talking about the alt-right person who came out and was blasting this as the biggest story ever.
No, people didn't think he shouldn't have been fired.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And
that alt-right person thought he should, just to fuck with everyone else.
Right, and he was doing it because James Gunn is
spoken about Trump.
Exactly. So I think that that Disney is finally doing the right thing. I think this is a sign in the right direction. The one thing that the article that I read was interesting was that it kept talking about how this is in giant contrast to the guy who was Kevin Hart, who was gonna host the Oscars, where he refused to apologize, whereas James Gunn actively apologized and made it a point of discussion that he was apologetic about it, because when he was coming off of the what was the films he was making, those very harsh movies that he would make when he was very early on, the trauma, yeah, so he would do those, so of course he's apologizing for it, whereas Kevin Hart refused to apologize.
Kevin Hart did apologize, but he just didn't want to apologize. He didn't want to be continually apologizing.
He didn't apologize good enough.
Yeah, well, but that's a difference in between what James Gunn has been doing. He actually made it a talking point. He said, yeah, I fucked up, I apologize, I will continue to apologize.
Yeah, James Gunn was continually, he didn't mind,
which is awesome. I think that's exactly what you should do. That's a stand. And I remember talking about Kevin Hart before when we were doing the Oscars discussion, that Kevin Hart, seriously, he was like a child. He was like, oh, I refuse to apologize. No, you should apologize. You should be okay with apologizing, because that shows that you're growing up. And James Gunn here shows that he's growing up. And you know what? Kudos to the whole cast of Guardians of the Galaxy, who somewhat refused. I know,
especially Dave Bautista.
Yeah, Dave Bautista refused to make the movie, and he was like, "You're gonna have to recast me because I'm not gonna do it." And so I feel like they also deserve a lot of the ownership over this, because that just shows how tight knit this group is.
Now, even though James Gunn was rehired to do Guardians of the Galaxy 3 with his script, also, he's still doing Suicide Squad 2,
which is good.
Which is set to be released in 2021, which is 2 years from now, which means Guardians of the Galaxy 3 won't be seen for at least 4 to 5 years from now.
Which is fine.
So, just a heads up to everyone.
Well, and I think that just you can actually do a lot of with these characters. That I think the actors are willing to get back into the roles, which is fantastic. But also, you can do multiple things with these characters. You can put them in the next Captain Marvel movie. You can do a whole bunch of medley of things with these characters. That same way that the Hulk was used in Thor Ragnarok,
or a Rocket.
Yeah.
And Groot spinoff.
Yeah, absolutely. Just do something small like that, where it's like they're on Earth and they're doing stuff. I think that lends them. I think the whole point is this. The actors were refusing to do the movie had they not rehired James Gunn. With the rehiring of James Gunn, those actors are now going to be willing to go and do other spin-off movies. And I think that's fantastic.
Yes, I agree. Let's go. Cory or Mike, do you have any thoughts about James Gunn being rehired?
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
No, I'm happy to see James Gunn back.
Yeah.
They should have never gotten rid of him.
They shouldn't. Yeah, I agree with you. They should never have done it.
And maybe they couldn't find a better director. Did they ask?
They didn't even interview.
They asked Taika Waititi,
but
he said
I don't think he was going to do it.
No, he said no. That Guardians is James Gunn films, and he wouldn't feel right taking over.
See, and I think that's the amazing part, is that a lot of people stuck to it. Even Adam McKay, who was actually approached, that he refused to do it too. They was like, no, this should be his.
Even Edgar Wright, that they reached out to, like, guess maybe like he wanted to come back and do this one. They were like, he's like, nope.
This is not. This is So I think that's just amazing that all the directors kind of at the same time lined up and said, listen, he's apologetic. He's a standout guy. He's actually done a lot of great work,
and we can't find another director.
And no, but you know what? Disney would have found another director to fill the spot, but the actors refused to do it. That's the point.
So it was really the team that helped.
It's exactly what I'm saying. Yes.
Gotcha.
All right, and then the next story that we got is Rotten Tomatoes is going to take further measures to make sure that audience reviews are verified. So to combat trolls, essentially. So with the whole controversy with Captain Marvel,
yes,
where the audience score was brought down to like a 32%, because bots and people who didn't see the film were already talking smack about it for whatever reason, because they're trolls.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, can I ask a question, Cory? And I feel like you don't go watch as many movies as we do.
What's the movie?
Yeah, there you go. Do you actually care about what Rotten Tomatoes says?
I look at it, to be honest. Okay. I don't always go by what it says, but I take, especially with comedy.
Okay.
But I do take a look. Just curious.
Okay. So you do look.
I do think a lot of people do take a look at it.
I mean, I know that they do. It's just that for me, and now I think that what they're doing is fantastic. I think they should do that because a lot of the trolls were going online prior to Captain Marvel being released and trashing.
Well, no. The thing was that
but they were doing that.
No. The thing is that they wouldn't, and they stopped allowing audience reviews prior to the movie's release. So they thought that would combat that.
Yes.
But as soon as Captain Marvel opened, as soon as it opened, that's when they got the bad reviews.
Yeah.
So it didn't combat it. I mean, it did because Captain Marvel still made a ton of money overseas
500
and
million
domestically,
and killing it. Yeah,
and still killing it. But now what they want to do is they want to try to have audience ratings verified. In what way, we don't know. They haven't discussed that yet, but they are currently working on a way to make sure that if someone who is not a critic wants their review on Rotten Tomatoes, like a fan, audience, or whatever, they need to go ahead and have a verification of some form that they watched the film. Now, Fandango is a parent company of Rotten Tomatoes, so I could see them teaming up with Fandango, like when you buy a ticket and you can review it.
But you have to verify on Fandango that you bought a ticket? That's lame.
No. I think that would be interesting. That's a good way, I think, of doing it.
But that wouldn't require you to go through Fandango, and as anyone who's used Fandango knows that website is kind of sucky.
No, before I had AMC stubs, I used to use Fandango for everything, and they have your reviews there, and you could write a review after you've seen the film and ask you, what did you think of it? That could just simply go into Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
Or it could be the same thing with AMC stubs, or once you buy a ticket online, once you're done with watching the film, it should ask you what you thought of it, if you want to share.
But that requires.
I'd like to see that in the movie theater,
right,
like
exactly.
a survey come up on the screen. What did you think of this movie?
I would be okay with that. That would be fantastic to do. But I think that then limits. I mean, listen,
no, that's the whole point.
I get
the whole point is that you watching the film is
Yes.
the reason why. Because all these robots all these bots are not verified of watching these films.
But see, wouldn't just a second factor authenticity be able to take care of that too? I think that they're. I mean, listen, I don't know if they could actually do that. I think that there's an easier way of doing it, but okay, whatever.
No,
as long as they're figuring it out.
There's no
whatever.
measures instead. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I thought that'd be a good idea.
You should send them your ideas. Send them an email.
I have
with a picture of your ticket stub.
Yeah. You holding it though.
Yeah.
In the same way
No,
that
but
movie
Create your own
passes
site.
have a-
Dandango.com.
Bingo. Yeah,
But
that's
that's the problem though is like
Fandango?
people post their ticket online, so what they're afraid of is that people will somehow scan the number or type up the number and say that was their ticket that they.
Yeah,
It's a tricky business.
I have seen people like talk trash about a movie that they haven't seen. It's not necessarily bots. It's just people with biases that haven't seen the movie.
No, but this is like overwhelmingly unreasonable reviews on a film.
Yeah.
Positive or negative, right?
Right.
So and I think
mostly negative and trolling and trash talking, but yes, it could be on both sides.
But I think it does go both ways. Like because there are companies that exist out there that will push reviews or views or subscriptions for you in all different social media platforms.
Yeah, I'm looking at.
You're looking on where to buy some.
Buy some.
No, the John Travolta film that just came out where movie.
Yes.
Anyways.
Okay. Yeah. Where they're like basically buying support for it. Where everyone's like, "This was the greatest movie I've ever seen of John Travolta."
What was it? It was Gotti. John Gotti. It was the Gotti film that they bought like positive reviews for it.
Yeah, and that it's obvious that exists. But
Battlefield Earth was a great movie.
I hope you posted that on.
How much money are they paying you for that?
That's you cannot disclose that.
No. Come to the Church of Scientology. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Movie Manager does not have any affiliation with the Church of Scientology.
None whatsoever.
Gotta state that, please.
Yes. We're a sponsor. I mean, they're a sponsor.
Of Hoobacanoes?
Well, Hoobacanoes is in Scientology.
On that note, Mike, you're a Scientologist. No.
I am not. No, but I was going to say, so I think there's like a slippery slope here in terms of what Rotten Tomatoes is planning to implement, because of course they haven't released that yet. So that could also mean that they can they will allow whoever they want to. Having control over who can make the review can also have negative side effects as well.
It does, because then who makes the choices as to whom is uploading things?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So who knows? I think we got to wait to see what they decide to do.
Yeah, I agree.
Agreed. So on that note, let's go ahead and switch over to the first review.
Movie menu.
So the film that we're reviewing is Captive. I can't speak right
Captive?
now.
Captain State.
Captain State.
Captain State.
I'm thinking of Captain America.
I would've
Captive
seen
State. Captive State. Directed by Rupert Wyatt. Written by Erica Beanie and Rupert Wyatt. Here's the plot. Set in Chicago neighborhood, nearly a decade after an occupation by an extraterrestrial force, Captive State explores the lives on both sides of the conflict, the collaborators and the rebels. Starring John Goodman, Ashton Sanders, Jonathan Majors, and Vera Farmiga. Alright guys, so depending on your spoiler-free review, we will decide if this movie's worth a dining watch in theaters, take away and watch it at home, or leftovers, get eviscerated?
Eviscerated?
Eviscerated? Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of watching this film?
Sure. Okay.
Now we have all seen this film, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. And I've seen it as well. So, Cory, as our guest, you have the option of if you are correct in your review.
Wow. What? Because clearly you're either right or wrong.
That's
You're
it.
either with us or
Do I have to go
not
through
so-
a verification process?
yes. if your
We
review
go to
can be uploaded
Dandango
to
right now.
yeah, go to Dandango. And if it's approved, then you will earn the point.
All right, we got to create this website.
I like the idea of
Dandingo.
Fandingo as well. Dandingo?
Dandingo?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Dandango ate my baby.
You can earn a point that you will roll over, and you could create a segment of your own choosing up to
Yes.
having 10 points. On that note, go ahead and rate this film. Cory, you can go first.
I'm
as
going
our
to give
guest.
it leftovers.
Leftovers, okay.
Z,
I'm going to give it a takeout.
Mike.
I'm going to give it a shoot.
You should have thought about this beforehand.
So it's kind of like in, you know what? Yeah, okay.
I was in between, too.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm in between. I'll go with the...
Just be a hater,
I'll
Mike.
go with
Come on.
Yeah, go.
I'll go with a very, very soft takeout.
Okay.
I got a soft spot for aliens.
Well,
and
yeah, and
we'll go into
We'll go into it, yeah.
You know what? When I went to go see this film, I wasn't expecting much, but I actually really enjoyed it.
So Really? for
It's
you-
a dine-in.
Wow. Oh, you are so
Are
wrong
you
about
serious?
this.
I'm not so wrong.
All right.
The only thing about the dine-in about that, I mean, the only thing I feel leftovers is the special effects. It feels like a sci-fi film, like literally
It's
like a
just like a
sci-fi
little-
channel TV
It's low
film.
budget.
It's really low budget, but I didn't let that take over because I really liked the development. Now it's really chaotic.
Development.
It's a chaotic
It's a
movie.
chaotic. It
That's
is
the issue.
because who do we follow? Who's the story?
Exactly.
But towards the end of the film, it all comes together. And I even thought when I saw this film, like, how would I, if this was to be in real life, how would I infiltrate this and stop this? And I would have gone the same way that. Well, I don't want to give it away.
Well, here's the thing, though. But for me, all right, I understand your perspective because I thought that this movie was a very interesting concept. However, I agree highly, and I think my problem is the fact that it's so chaotic. Because Erica Beanie, who's the writer of this, it seems like she's trying to tell a bigger story, but she doesn't really have it. Like this felt like a movie that could have done well on the Sci-Fi Channel as a TV show, and because of that reason, it does feel like there's a lot of plot holes that are kind of like you expect to fill in by yourself. There's a lot of expectation for the audience to do that work for them, and
but
honestly,
I like
in
that
my
because
theater,
it's not dumbed down for you.
But in
you
my,
get to
no,
do the work.
Well, except that because
Because they didn't. Because the writers didn't want to do any work themselves.
That's exactly right. Yes.
You get to make it a good movie in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And-
Well, yeah, no, because okay, so we criticize writers for either telling you the story completely and it dumbing it down for the audience, or being too abstracted and not doing the work and making us do the work.
Except we have a
but they didn't give
we
you
have
enough,
But there's not.
though.
But that's not a fair thing to do. I don't. In this film, I feel like the story elements were there.
Yeah, but you're
and
yeah.
it had a cohesive ending that it looped everything in the film together.
Yes.
And it wasn't sloppy because it had a very
What it
wrapped
didn't
up
have was
ending.
good character development.
It did.
No.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
I think
Because
that's what was missing.
yeah, because a lot of the time some of the characters just disappear outright, and I was like, wait, aren't we supposed to be following this one character?
There was too many characters.
And there was
for one.
there was way too many. Again,
They
this
needed more
is
cyanide pills.
Yeah.
this is why this movie could have done really well as a TV show. And you know what, Dan, as you were saying, like
No, I
we-
agree. It would have been a good TV show as well,
But-
but I thought the premise
Would have
for
been
itself,
a TV show.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, to address like the expectation of the audience. I agree. I asked for more intellectual movies, and there have been really good intellectual movies. This is not one of them. That's my issue. Is that this movie is blatantly on the surface supposed to be a very complex movie, but it really doesn't have that much complexity. There's these guys.
No.
They want to bomb this one the thing, and that's it. That's the but they convolute it. They make it so convoluted that I honestly just stopped caring about some of these characters.
They just
I
wanted it to be so serious that they took all the fun out of
yeah,
it.
I didn't care about any of these movies. There are better movies like District 9 that do a
District
really good.
9,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, how Elysium did a really good job of doing this.
Rival.
Yeah.
I disagree. I mean, yes, Arrival. But I disagree that you didn't care about anything in this film.
Who did you care about in this movie?
All the people who were doing the mission, and once they
No, I stopped. I did.
as soon as
do you know
as
their
she
names?
had,
Do you know their
as soon
names?
as she had about 2 minutes before her identity was cut off, I was like, oh crap, what is she gonna do to jump ahead of line so she's not? And then when that whole scene happened, I was like, fuck, this movie is really depressing now. Until I saw the ending, and I cared
I
about
think
the
it needed
characters.
humor. I think I needed to like these people. You don't
That's it.
really have any fun with them before they go off on their,
This is
crappy
it's
Ocean's
It's
11.
an occupation. Like I don't expect to be singing and dancing.
No, not that either. But every movie, no matter how like somber, Schindler's List has some,
They have
humor in it.
Yeah. And I think that's it. Like, a part of me is just thinks to myself, like, okay, if we're talking about a rebel, right? Again, and I know this is now speaking from like a perspective of like 50 years, but like we know Luke Skywalker, we know those characters. In this movie, honestly, without looking at IMDb, I forgot all their characters' names. I was like, that's John Goodman. That's some other dude.
I remember
that's some other
Drummond
dude.
because
Oh,
a basketball player.
Yeah,
with last name Drummond.
Vera
That's it.
Farmiga's in this movie. Cool. I haven't seen her
Her
since.
character's name was Jane Doe.
It is Jane Doe.
Yeah.
And it's silly. It's you just really there again. My problem, as Cory said, is that there's no good character development. I didn't care about any of these characters, and even when they ask you to care about John Goodman's character, I didn't.
Yeah, and I thought the young man at the beginning was going to be the main character, but he just
Ashton
spends
Sanders,
half
yeah.
the movie just running around
Exactly, Gabriel. Right, Gabriel just keeps running around, and you're like, okay,
because they didn't have a budget. Just run.
Yeah, yeah, and and I think that's the big issue. So just to kind of clarify the plot is Gabriel, right? He's the one you're supposed to be following. Has a brother, and his brother is this freedom fighter, and the
Doesn't
movie
seem like a very good freedom fighter
no,
either.
not really. And then it follows the conspiracy of this brother. I forget the character's name, but you follow
Rafe?
Rafe, yeah. You see Rafe's story and all the little webs that he's created, and by doing that, they're trying to bomb the first, not the first contact, but like the contact since the last contact with the alien force that took over the planet. And that part was interesting, but again, right, I didn't care about any of this. So when there was like that moment where they ask you to really kind of be stressed out about, are they going to get caught? Are they going to get caught? I honestly was like, cool. I don't care. I don't care about any of this stuff. Black Mirror did a better job about this than any of this, and that's my
I disagree
issue.
that they do a better job. I think they did just as good of a job. I cared about the characters. You may not have, but I did. So I feel like in that sense, at least they accomplished something.
Who was your favorite character, Dan?
I
You're
actually
working
liked,
for the legislator. You're
So actually, I really enjoyed the
Hunters.
the hunters,
hunters
were
were cool, but no, I really enjoyed
Just a letdown.
the team that went down. So Rafe, I liked the girl, even the doctor that I like the bug that's in there to how they identify each other.
Fun concepts, bad execution.
No, that's not bad execution. That's your opinion, though. I guess
I liked
for
the
me. I
little
enjoyed it.
tumor that they had in their necks. That was cool.
And I liked how that.
You're putting.
I was
making
hoping
notes?
it was all malignant.
Did you get a slug afterwards and try injecting into yourself, going like, there you go, little tumor?
Yeah.
I like the mission. I like the guy who there was like a guy who was like that did drag, and then he kind of was just a total badass.
That was weird. I mean, like
that was cool.
It's like you try to inject that into a character that then just simply doesn't matter 5 minutes later. That was my issue. It's like okay, great.
You didn't even hear him talk, really.
Did he talk?
I don't think he did.
I don't think so either. It was weird. That's the thing, is that this movie doesn't really. This movie tries to play itself as being, again, an intellectual movie, but it really kind of lacks. This is why I would enjoy watching this movie at home, is because I could just put it on and be like, oh, some character just, oh, okay, well, what happens? Whatever. I'm just gonna watch something.
I think it was really interesting world development. I
Absolutely.
thought that was pretty cool, and I did like a lot of how they set up like a lot of the environments. Like I saw it in the trailer, and nothing ever comes of it. But there are these like giant robotic statues.
Yeah, those
and
are
I
really cool.
I was like, those look super awesome. I was hoping like those will be used or talked about in some way, and like
Not in the budget.
Not in the budget.
But even then, like there's a lot of really cool moments, but I feel like
That flying rock.
yeah, you got a flying
They
rock.
just reused that shot a
yeah,
couple
over
times. though.
and, yeah, they showed it twice. It was the
Yep.
same damn
It
shot.
was the exact same
Yeah.
shot.
I enjoyed like the alien suits and
I hated the hunter suit.
I hated
Really?
them too.
I thought it looked
thought
like
it
a
was
cheapy, like 99-cent store, like Predator knockoff.
It did. I agree with that.
Oh no, I'm sorry, not the hunter suits, but the
weird emo monsters.
yeah, the monsters, which you don't like. The trailers don't really spoil that for you, so it's
Because the movie doesn't spoil it for you either. They don't really show you that much.
So do they fight with like the sonic boom thing, or are they just like porcupine you to death?
So the sonic boom thing, which is shown in the beginning, it's actually from like one of their ships. So the
It's
ship,
an acupuncture
Yeah.
alien race.
yeah, I did enjoy that.
But see, I was
Acupuncture.
hoping that one
I did
person.
too.
I was hoping somebody would actually get acupuncture to death.
Somebody does
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
He gets spiked.
A
Yeah.
character
okay.
does get spiked, and
Okay.
he
Sorry,
Yeah,
the CGI was so bad.
But that was he was just getting ear piercings. And things.
yeah.
yeah, and I think for me, like that was okay. So the acting was, I think for me, was subpar. I mean,
think so
but it was
too.
definitely like it was. They were trying. I could tell they were really, really trying to sell it, and I can appreciate that. And I'm not complaining about the actress at all. What I'm complaining about is the plot. But the other part that really kind of suffered so greatly for me was the CGI. Everything was too dark, and when you got to light the scene a little bit better, the CGI looks so bad. And as you were saying, like the costumes for
forgive
the
it because-
hunters were awful.
It's an independent
bad.
film. So
With a $50 million budget, I believe. Like it's a $25 million. Like it's not like.
yeah, that's really low for a sci-fi film.
But you could still do a lot better with that. And
Yeah, I think-
District 9 had a lower budget.
Yeah, I think if they would have just stripped a lot of things down and made the story, the placement of the story support the budget that was given.
yeah.
Mhm.
Like, because if you look at a film like Ex Machina, where it's very like everything in that is stellar, but
Yeah.
because each element in it is so powerful, it's a very powerful film.
Well, and again, right, my issue is that there's a lot of introduction of characters that
Right.
don't follow through. You don't build up any of the characters, and then when you expect somebody to believe in this world, you get really campy CGI.
The best sci-fi movies with low budgets that I can think of had very few characters.
Yeah,
like I think
yeah.
of like Moon.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or-
Moon was fabulous.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the monsters were the comic relief for the movie? Or? No, I'm just kidding.
There should have been some
just the
comic relief.
suits.
They needed comic relief
Yeah.
in this movie badly.
Yeah, but
It didn't have to be a character, but something.
Yeah.
Okay, final thoughts, guys?
Well, for me, the final thing that I want to say about it is pacing. This movie kind of falls apart. Like it goes
So this
fast.
is your final thought.
This is my final thought. Yeah, the movie goes fast, it goes slow, and because of all the other problems with it, this movie would serve best to watch it at home on Netflix. That would be a much better thing to watch. I've seen better indie movies.
Cory?
This movie was too long. Should have been just a trailer, and then another movie should have started right after that trailer. And they should have just handed cyanide pills out to everybody.
Yeah.
Mike?
I think cool world, cool world building, but poor execution in terms of character development, and it should have been stripped down way more.
And I think that the film was very interesting concept. I thought the characters were interesting. I thought the mission itself was interesting and stuff, and I really enjoyed the ending of it. All right, so we'll go ahead and rate it a takeout.
Yeah.
Wait and watch it at home. So that means, Cory, you do not get the point for that. Sorry. Blame Z.
It's okay. Hoobacanoes is coming.
So let's go ahead and head over to the next movie review. Let's walk on over there.
Movie menu.
To Triple Frontier.
Nice.
Netflix's film. It is a Netflix original. It is directed by J.C. Chandor. Written by Mark Bowl and J.C. Chandor. Here's the plot. 5 former Special Forces operatives reunite to plan a heist in a sparsely populated multi-border zone in South America. For the first time in their prestigious careers, these unsung heroes undertake this dangerous mission for self instead of country. But when events take an unexpected turn and threaten to spiral out of control, their skills, their loyalties, and their morals are pushed to a breaking point in an epic battle for survival. Damn, Z!
I didn't write this. This is Netflix's press release. I just copied and pasted.
Starring Oscar Isaac, Charlie Hunnam, Ben Affleck, Pedro Pascal, and Garrett Hedlund. All right, guys. So we all know how this works. If you get this right, Corey, you get a point. If not, then too bad.
Like you gave up before you even started.
That was good. That was a good, just kind of like, I'm over this.
Let's go ahead and just rate this film. Corey?
I guess a dine-in because you watch it at home. It's on
You
Netflix.
do watch it at
Oh,
home, yeah.
so dine-in is you want to watch it at home right away, like this weekend or next weekend. Take out, take your time.
Oh, takeout
watch
then.
it.
In that it's takeout.
Okay.
I enjoyed it, but
Yeah, you
I
don't have
wouldn't-
to rush to watch it.
I wouldn't
And
rush to watch
leftovers
it.
is do not put it on the queue, or when it comes up, just hit skip at each
All right.
time.
That's fair.
Takeout.
Yeah.
Mike?
Yeah, okay, takeout.
Z?
Yeah, for me, it's a solid takeout.
I'm also going to go with takeout as well.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with
I
this
would
movie.
say that the film itself, like the first half of the film, it was a dine-in for me. It was very exciting, and I thought J.C. Chandor did a good job with the action scenes in the opening. Especially there was like a continuous shot as they do the heist, which was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Disaster Piece is the music artist for this, and I love Disaster Piece ever since Z's favorite film.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to say it? Go for it. Say it.
What?
Go ahead, Dan.
What
Go
is
ahead.
it?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, you're going to make it a thing, so just go right ahead.
He doesn't remember.
He doesn't
I don't even
He's
the
like, I
title
got
of the
this joke in
film.
my head.
It follows?
It
Damn it.
follows. Thank you.
You dumbass.
Punchline.
Good grief, Dan.
I looked over there for the poster. I'm like, the
Google,
poster's not there.
It's right behind you, I think.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
Um,
Okay. So J.C. Chandler, interestingly enough, this movie was going to be directed by Catherine Bigelow. And you can really tell. This movie was written and produced by J.C. Chandler and Catherine Bigelow.
The tea lady?
Catherine Bigelow is the person who
TV.
directed The Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30. So she, and I forget which other one, but she knows how to direct bro movies, which is awesome. I think she's fantastic, and she is undersung, needs to be recognized by the Academy a whole lot more. And this movie is, I feel like J.C. Chandler did a really good job of imitating her directing style, because as Dan was saying, the action sequences in this movie are fantastic. Cinematically, the cinematography here is brilliant. You get to see a lot of good scenery. It's done in South America, and so because of that reason, you really start to, unlike the last movie, invest in these characters. And I think that's the other part that I really enjoyed, was that you're watching an ensemble piece of a bunch of actors who are well known, like they're somewhat famous. There's a couple who are probably not as famous as the others. And it's just a very interesting, fun bro movie that has you second guessing the whole time.
Mike, what did you think of the film?
Yeah, I enjoyed the action. There is like a reference to the Hurt Locker in the very beginning with the character that's doing the motivational speech, and he talks about how he was in an aisle full of cereal boxes, and I was like, there's a scene in that in the Hurt Locker.
Yeah.
So I made that connection. And I was like, I wonder if like the screenwriters were doing just like a tribute.
The screenwriter wrote, so Mark Boal wrote The Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30 in Detroit. So
Got it. So it almost gives a sense that it's existing in the same world as the Hurt Locker.
Yes, I agree.
So, but yeah, I enjoyed the action, and it's a great. I thought it was a great ensemble cast. You know, seeing of course Oscar Isaac and Ben Affleck together. It was
Together
interesting.
again.
Wait, what were they in before?
Yeah.
Good buddy cop film.
Yeah.
I think this
they
is
were,
the
they
first
were
time.
Goodwill Hunting together, right?
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac?
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, fuck Matt Damon, right?
Yeah. Dan, what'd you think of it?
You know what? I enjoyed the film. I liked how the story was untold to us, or unraveled, I guess you should say.
Yeah, because they really don't tell you anything, right? Like, it starts to just develop by its own self. And again, right, unlike the last movie where it didn't give you any answers, here in the movie, the characters are showing you a lot of the answers.
And it shows you really the ugly side of greed and the ugly side of...
I love that, too.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, because there's a moment in the movie where one character looks at all all of the money, and you can just see it in their eyes. You can see it in Ben
That
Affleck's
Gollum
eyes.
moment.
Yeah, it is that moment of like, we need to take it all. Like, give me my precious. Like, it's really, really nasty. And I think
there's always a cost. There's always
and,
a cost.
and that's what I liked about this movie. It reminded me a little bit of Mad Max Fury Road, in that the beginning of the movie is a chase, and then the last part the beginning of the movie is
escape?
The escape, and then the last part is people being hunted, but it's like their own greed that's causing them to suffer. And that's what I really enjoyed about this movie, is that it, as you were saying, right, it really does show you how terrible greed is, but at what cost? What do you suffer for the things that you want the most? And I thought that the character development for all the characters were fantastic. You knew exactly where everybody stood as far as like their morals and their beliefs about what they're doing. And with the exception of some bad acting, I thought this movie was very close to a dine-in.
Where'd you see the bad acting?
I was
I'm
about to
curious.
say,
Charlie Dunham for me didn't do it well. Yeah,
Hunnam.
Hunnam.
sorry.
I like Charlie Hunnam. I thought all of them
Actually,
did a pretty good job.
I actually do think he did a good job. I just didn't like his accent.
Well, that's-
that opening scene.
That's what I
specifically.
mean. It's like, for me, like, his accent was very telling of where he's actually from, and not actually the character he's supposed to be playing. That was my issue, is that I was like, I can hear your accent, dude. I know you played, a lot of British movies, but like, you really have your accent not in check.
But I feel like this film would have had a wide release theatrically, but I feel like a lot of people have a problem with the ending of this film. Now, without giving anything away,
Really?
did you guys have any problems with the ending of this film?
So
No.
I thought it was real.
I thought it was a good ending.
Yeah.
that's
Are you saying because it's not a happy ending?
Right, it's not the ending that people were expecting. At least that's what I've heard.
It's not the worst
unanimously.
thing. It wasn't the worst
so
outcome.
yeah, I thought it's hard to talk about it without spoiling it.
Yeah.
But I guess I can say I was
You were
expecting.
satisfied or no?
I would say I enjoyed it, but I was expecting it to go in a different direction. But I was happy, well, not happy, but I was satisfied with where it went. But it's hard because I'm curious to find out like why it was getting the heat that it was getting. But would there be a way for you to explain that without spoiling it, Dan?
No. I
Okay,
wouldn't
so
be able
so
to.
for me, I thought it was a human ending. It wasn't the ending that was a theatrical ending, and because it's a human ending, in the same way that a lot of the movies, the Oscar movies that I really love, are usually darker endings that feel more human based. I think that the ending in this movie showed you the human cost of greed, and I think that's what really sold it for me. Now, does it feel like it opened it up a little bit for a sequel? I think so, but at the same time, I enjoyed spending time with these characters, that if they do a sequel, then I'm okay with that. But I think the human cost was the thing that I absolutely wanted to go in for, and Oscar Isaac is amazing, so I really loved his journey.
Now, do you feel like this film was very similar to Three Kings in that aspect of it? That because it was a very similar story, that
that men of honor go and do something that's dishonorable.
Right.
Yeah. I think so, but
Yeah.
I think it's a different story entirely, and I think that it's even at that. Like, I feel like this movie's better made. I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, and
I enjoyed this film as well.
yeah, and it's interesting because you do see like the characters kind of losing their morale, but
Yeah.
but it's not black and white. Like there's just these like gray areas.
That's what I like.
and
they're making these split decisions.
Yeah,
and you
and-
see, it seems to be a little swayed by greed. here and there.
but it's kind of cool that they still like that from beginning to end. They always maintain their humanity. They're still like relatable. Like you I don't think you like they lose you from being, or I didn't get I always cared about them from beginning.
Yeah,
to
I was
end.
gonna say nobody.
Even though I didn't always agree with what they were doing,
Yeah.
but I always like cared about what was going to happen to them.
that's
Because you could see them working through it too. It's
Yeah.
not like they were just one dimensional.
yeah, which is great.
What did you? So why would you consider this more of a takeout than a dine-in? What separates this from having to tell people, oh, you should watch it today, as opposed to, oh, watch it casually when you get a chance?
I mean, I think that The Hurt Locker was a dine-in all the way because I think it had a message. I think this movie is a good popcorn film. I don't think this movie is a movie that's trying to deliver a message, aside from the fact that being poor sucks. And so, realistically, this movie doesn't have like that sense of urgency that you need to go out and watch it. I think it was a fun movie, a good popcorn film, but do I feel like it has something like a hidden message in it? No. So that's why for me it's like it's good.
It does have a small hidden message.
I
Like
think
treat veterans better. I think.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
So they don't have to become mercenaries.
Yes,
Right.
yes. But at the same time, right, you look at these characters and what they do is they make a choice based on their needs. And because of that, they make all the mistakes. And so I really like this movie, but I don't think it's an urgent movie you need to go out and rush to watch it. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
watch it.
Watch it. Because I was
Watch it,
torn
you
between
know.
dine-in and takeout.
Yeah, and I don't like. Yeah, I mean, it's only. I mean, you could only really stream it on Netflix, anyways. But yeah, watch it when you get an opportunity. It's definitely worth watching, worth checking out, for sure. And I think this definitely like is another point for Netflix in terms of a solid film under their belt.
Yeah, and I was worried because a lot of the times I feel like some Netflix films, with the exception of Roma, tend to meander and not have good editors. But I felt like this one actually was a concise film. It really did. It was nuts and bolts. It knew what it wanted to do, and it went for it, and I didn't feel bored at all.
So one of the other
Smooth
films that
operators.
this director did was A Most Violent Year.
Yes.
A Most Violent Year.
With Oscar
which was
Isaac.
Oscar Isaac in that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you enjoyed A Most Violent Year, then I think you would really enjoy this film as well.
Yeah.
I think they should have tried to take more money.
You thought so? Yeah. I think that's something only people who watch the movie would understand.
They could have carried, a lot more money. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. Well, and I think
why did they just get one helicopter? They should have gotten two.
Yeah. Well, we didn't really talk about the plot, but the plot is super interesting too,
Yeah,
right? So they go and they try to steal.
I think you. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think it may be funner for the viewer to let it unfold in front of them.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, but it's still fun. Yeah,
unless you want to. I don't know.
I mean, I was going to go into it.
I didn't mean to stop you.
Yeah, you jerk.
Let's not give too much of the plot away.
That's fine. Yeah.
We really give the plot essentially like these people, they go to do a heist.
Do you
That's in
feel
the
like this
trailer.
movie's going to get a second movie?
No.
So this was definitely like a heist film. Like there are like the fun heist films, like the Ocean's
movies, yeah.
franchises where they're gonna pull it off and they'll be okay at the end of it, but you just don't know how. And in this film, it's like a heist film, but you don't know, you don't know if they're gonna make it back, and there's always this lingering feeling like they might not.
Yeah.
No. Speaking of the acting, though, did you guys believe them as special operatives, military soldiers?
It's funny because
they looked like they were trained well.
What's funny is we have Pedro Pascal, who's done a lot of the Narcos films, the TV shows, and I believe him all the time because he's such a great
Oscar
actor.
Isaac is a rebel on
Exactly.
or the Resistance.
I
I
thought it
should
was
say,
totally
in Star Wars.
believable.
Yeah,
Totally believable.
I think that what they went as far as like I'm imagining like the training they did for this movie was really like legit because even like their gun handling was like really well done. I think you said that there's that one moment where like they do like a long take. All of that seemed
they're
really
communicating the whole time. Call it out.
Call it out. Yeah, very well coordinated. And I thought like, oh, this even with that moment in the movie where they don't have any radios and they're like use hand signals. Like it's very clear, direct, like shorthand communication. You could tell
Watch your flank. Sorry.
You can tell, yeah.
No,
Watch
he
your
said, he
six.
said watch your six.
Watch your six.
But you can tell
Yeah.
like that they've had a relationship in the past, and they don't have to like embellish on it. They don't have to go a little bit further into it. Going, remember that time when we did none of that. It's like
Yeah,
you
we
could
got
just
the sense that they had a history.
Back in
yeah, you could just tell by their behaviors that they've known each other for a long time, well enough to be brothers and have a second speech because they're able to like communicate very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, for me,
They were
if
sending text messages the whole time.
no, they were speaking telepathically.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Now, if they had more of those long shots, I feel like this film would have been a total dine-in for me.
Yeah.
I eat that shit up completely.
You do.
Not that I eat shit. Or
I was
anything.
gonna say, like, and now, Dan, we're bringing out a piece of shit.
You're already here, so it's okay.
Well, but you have to eat
On
it.
that note,
Yes, yeah.
so
Crap
we go
tastes
ahead
great.
and give this a takeout. Watch it at your leisure.
Yes.
But watch it nonetheless.
Nonetheless.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Cory, thank you for being on the show.
Thank
do
you
wanna-
for having me.
Well, you're welcome. I mean, not like we had a choice, but it's okay. Thank you. Go ahead. And is there anything you'd like to promote?
I would like to promote Yoshinoya. They've got a great combo.
That's enough. That's enough. We don't have the right to see Yoshinoya, but thank you. Also visit Hoobacanoes, right?
Yeah. I eat there
Sure.
sometimes too.
Sometimes when you need
The Hooba Hole and Flop Bucket.
Oh, flop bucket sounds fun.
Get a blood sandwich.
Blood
It's pretty
sandwich.
good.
Oh,
blood
okay.
sandwich made by Mike.
Like some more blood,
the hand
Is this ketchup or blood? It's blood, sir.
Yeah, we don't know.
It's a mix. It's a new mix.
It's a mystery.
Yeah.
Hoobacanoes.com.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Z.
Thank you.
Now I'm Dan the Man. Until next time, make sure to check us out on Stitcher, SoundCloud, or iTunes, as well as visit our website at moviemaniapodcast.com. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube channel, Twitter. We're all there. And until next time, goodbye.
Bye.
See you guys
Did
later.
you say Spacebook? I think that would be a great.
Facebook.
Let's start that. Let's start a new social media. company.
Astronaut social
Yeah,
media?
astronaut social media.
Facebook.
Facebook.
Astronauts and aliens.